welcome to our online forum. First of all, I would like to thank all the viewers for listening to our forum today. Our issue for today will be good friction, bad friction. Let me introduce to you all of our panelists. On my right, I have Venus. On my left, I have Chauvin. On my far left, I have Vidya. So, my name is Taiwan and I'll be the moderator for this forum. For your information, frictional force occurs whenever an object moves against another object. These forces act in opposite direction to the movement and makes it difficult for things to move. The amount of friction depends on the roughness of the object, the weight of the object, and the opposing forces. Friction consists of two types, kinetic and static. Kinetic friction involves movement, and static friction involves no movement. So, friction can be good or bad depending on its application. So, I will pass to Venus to expand on the good friction.
Well, there are different types of good friction, and good friction are the type of friction that allows people to run fast and do other sports like badminton and basketball. Good friction also allows you to pick up and hold onto things without it slipping out of your hand. Another example of good friction is the friction between your shoes and the floor. Friction between your shoes and the floor prevents you from slipping and falling, which may cause injury.
But however, I'm not totally agree with what Renus said just now, because the bad friction can be the friction between the shoes and the floor, and the friction between the shoes and the floor can cause the bottom of the shoes to be wear out.
As you can see, there are good side and bad side of friction, which we will come to it later. So, moving on, I would like to pose the next question to Vidya, our second panel. Vidya, could you please explain in further detail of the factors of good friction?
There are 5 main factors that can increase good friction. One of those factors would be the nature of the surface that the object is on. Friction occurs when an object is in contact with the surface. Frictional force can be calculated using the formula frictional force equals to the frictional coefficient times the normal force. Rougher surfaces tend to produce a higher frictional force. This is because rougher surfaces have more microscopic indents and grooves, which when in contact with the surface of the object, it can create friction. Second would be the weight of an object. Frictional force can be calculated also using the formula frictional force equals to the frictional coefficient times the mass times the gravitational pull, which will simplify to frictional force equals to the coefficient times the weight of the object. The frictional force is also directly proportionate to the weight of an object. So when the weight of the object doubles, the friction would increase by a factor of 2. Third would be temperature. An increase in temperature can affect friction coefficient. This is because friction coefficient undergoes several changes in properties of its material, and this can also vary from material to material as well. A third factor would be temperature. An increase in temperature can affect the friction coefficient as it will undergo certain changes and change the properties of its material, as it's a physical element which affects friction. It can increase the internal spacing and volume, and you can increase the activity space and speed up the movement of molecules due to thermal expansion. However, changes do vary from material to material. Fourth would be relative speed. Friction can limit or decrease velocity, as at a certain point, friction can stop acceleration completely. Relative speed is friction is directly proportionate to velocity, thus, as velocity increases, friction also increases. Lastly would be lubricants. Lubrication fills up the microscopic indents and grooves on a rough surface. This allows objects to move much more smoothly on the surface.
Yes, I agree with what Nita said about the lubricant in reducing frictions.
Okay, so moving on, what are the mechanics of good friction that affects transportation?
There are several mechanics that affect good friction, one of them being brakes, with the brakes on a vehicle. This changes the kinetic energy of a car to heat energy, which forces it to slow down. This gives the person more control over the vehicle. Second would be the grip. Tires have grip which provide friction and contact on roads, which are rough surfaces. Friction here is needed to move the car. Another example would be parachutes. Air drag is a form of friction as it opposes motion. This air drag allows people to slow down when they are landing.
Thank you, Nitya, for the informative insight. So, as we saw, there are usually upsides and downsides to all things. The same goes to friction as well. So, in some cases, friction is bad. In other cases, friction are good. So, for my third question, I would like to ask Shovan to expand on bad friction and its effect.
Yeah, there are several examples of bad friction. First, in machines, the moving and rotating objects such as the wheels and the shafts get heated up and get worn out. The lifetime of the tools is shortened also. Next, when someone falls down on the floor, he or she may be injured because of the friction between his or her body and the floor. And air resistance can be considered as a bad friction too. It's because when there is an airplane traveling in the air, the airplane needs to have a larger force than the air resistance in order to travel in the air.
Okay, thank you, Shovan, for your explanation. So, what are the mechanics of good friction that affect transportation?
There are a lot of examples of bad friction in transportation. For example, friction against the air, friction against the water, and friction against the moving components. Friction against the air will cause the exterior part of the aircraft to heat up, and hence a heating shield is required. Next, friction on moving parts will wear out components like the tires or the wheels, and this will lead to a higher maintenance cost. And the last one, the drag in the water is much more greater than the drag in the air, so the resistance against the water, the resistance against the water causes a waste of time and fuel as well. This is because the friction against the water will cause the boat to travel more slowly. So you need a lot of time and fuel as well.
Okay, thank you for the information. Now, we all know good friction or useful friction is important to many applications. Hence, there is a need to enhance good friction. Venus, would you please share some insight as to how to enhance good friction?
Well, in some cases, enhancing friction doesn't do much. For example, when cars drive on wet roads, the car tire will slip as water is a form of lubricant. Friction can be enhanced by changing the material of a particular object, as different materials have different grades.
Okay, thank you, Venus, for the information. On the other hand, it is essential to minimize bad friction. This is to improve efficiency, to reduce maintenance costs, and so on and so forth. So perhaps our panelist, Shovan, could share some information on the reduction of bad friction.
Sure. Bad friction can be reduced by applying several methods. Initially, we can make a certain surface to be smoother. This is because rough surfaces will produce more friction than a smooth surface. Some swimmers, they will wear some swimming suit to overcome the underwater resistance, and the suit is almost like the smooth skin of the sharks. And next, lubrication is another way to make a surface smoother. A lubricant is a slippery substance designed to reduce the friction between surfaces. When there is a squeaking door, you can try to put some oil on it to reduce the friction between two surfaces. And the next one, we can modify the shape of a certain object to be like streamlined. A streamlined shape can allow the air or the water to flow more easily, offering the least resistance.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do agree with the statement on streamlined shapes, as streamlined shapes do help reduce the amount of air drag that's acting on the object. Thus, the object needs to use less resistance for movement.
Yes, and the last one is we can reduce the bad friction by reducing the contact between two surfaces. Spheres are the best shape for reducing friction because very little of a spherical object is in contact with the other surface. Several types of wheels, such as skateboard wheels, contain small spheres called ball bearings to reduce the friction between the two surfaces.
Thank you, Shovan and Nitya. Now that we have some insight on friction, be it good or bad, it's clear that friction is always present, whether we want it or not. Nitya, this is an interesting question. So, what would it be like in a world without friction, if it even exists?
That is an interesting question. Friction is the main cohesive force between molecules and atoms. Everything around us is held together through friction, even on a molecular and quantum level as well. Without friction, materials around us would have almost no resistance. Without friction, the world would be completely dark, as this interaction for matter, mostly electrons, create friction. Without friction, the world would be completely devoid of light. This is because light is emitted through the interaction of anti-electrons and electrons, and when they interact, producing and cause friction, they emit light. So without friction, there would be no light. Friction is the reason that we're able to walk and do a lot of other things. Static friction is one of the main reasons why cables or shoes are able to push off the ground, enabling us to walk.
So that is interesting and indeed mind-boggling. As a conclusion, friction is fundamentally important in physics and also in our lives. Fire, the first and most important invention of mankind, would not have existed without friction. On the other hand, excessive friction causes a lot of problems. In short, we must enhance good friction and reduce bad friction. We have come to the end of the forum. We hope you enjoyed the forum and have a nice day.